Oh, what am I?
Wow.
What? I disappeared.
No, we didn't have any audio that whole time.
Are you serious?
They missed all the best jokes.
The gremlins.
I hope.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I hope they could see the visual.
That's hilarious.
What it was, instead of cutting to the audio, I cut to the camera, so that's why it went really abrupt and cut. So like I thought I was clicking on something, and then I was like, "What just happened there?"
Jesus.
Yeah, you missed all the best stuff. Just then, we just done like 5 minutes of probably some of the funniest material that we've ever done.
Sorry about that, ladies and
Yeah,
gents.
because we don't bother checking the chat as soon as we come on. But at least you got to see us moving around. You got to see us. You got to see what our faces look like when they're making sounds. You know, you got to experience
facial
what it's like for deaf people to know us.
About. They didn't know about the feather in the hat.
No, I didn't know that stuff. That's some of the best material that we've done.
Well, I'll let you lot know now that Dan's got a feather in his hat. Yeah, and I'll leave it at that. Pardon me, ladies and gents. Let's give a shout out to everybody. Welcome to the show. This is some shit you might not never know nothing about. Myself, Mice Diggy, my co-host Dan DNA. Yeah, I mean, please don't give him no flack for that because we're all human beings. We all make mistakes, man. These things happen. Players fuck up, man. I know you lot have fucked up every now and again. Some of you lot fucked up today. Tell the truth. You might mess up. Yesterday.
Do you know
some
what?
shit messed up. You know what I mean? It happens, man.
I'll be honest. I don't care. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, you're not meant to. You're not meant to, like I said. But shout out to the crew.
Very honest.
The comment censors out there, man, in the comment section. Don Smithered, Kenny Rebel. Shout out to you more. Yeah, I hope I said that right this time. So she didn't hear the shout out either.
No.
Right, shout out to you more. We saw a bunch of people that last week down at Brixton. We was at the chip shop for the Lab 79 1 year anniversary, and it was crazy, man. We got some footage, so we'll probably play you like that next week or something like that.
That would be your Christmas present from us.
Yo, shout out to everyone locked in. Desmond D'Souza, man. Thank you for locking in, brother. Yes, our guest coming up is going to be a very good one, ladies and gents. PLK, I see you there. What's going on? Shout out to Cuz locked in. Shout out to Straker. Jeez, here we go. Shout out to Oshi. All the crew locked in, man. We apologize for that little slight technical difficulty. You know what I'm talking about.
You don't apologize. They don't deserve apologies.
Shout out to Nice One JM. What's going on, bruv? Yes, listen. Yeah, it's a bit of a mad week, innit? We've had all kind of crazy announcements.
Yeah.
You know, people getting worried about whether they should go to the shops or not.
Yeah.
You know?
Is there some kind of lockdown going on?
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the petrol thing, the whole petrol's running out thing, but I'll just put that out there, you know what I mean? I don't mind. If anyone got any answers for that, let us know. But yeah, all of a sudden now, I think we're in limbo. We're waiting to find out whether we're fully in lockdown mode, innit? Mm. There we go. Well, I hope
nothing's
you enjoy.
Gonna change.
I hope you enjoy your Christmas either way. You know what I mean? Like,
they all missed a bit about the quiz. You missed so much good stuff. I wish I'd recorded it. It was probably the best. It's probably the best stuff we've done.
Yeah. You lot messed up. You lot messed up.
You lot messed up by not being here.
Trying to rub it in.
It's not me.
I can't work out where he's trying to rub it into, but I mean, either way, man. Here we go, mother lovers. Yeah, Kenny Rebel says bollocks to Boris.
And all the rest of them. It's not just Boris. Who's Kenny Rebel going to get in instead of Boris?
I mean, they're talking about getting him out, innit?
And replace him with another one, just another figurehead.
Yeah, someone else to blame.
For the weak elite.
He's got to say, and they always come in and talk about they got to clean up the mess.
4 years. Just like, someone else had the party. We're just clearing up the party poppers after they've had it.
Wait, I don't know how long are people going to carry on just pretending something's not weird?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How long? We don't know, but we're going to find out some shit you might not never know nothing about. That's for sure. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest. Yeah. We got a special guest. I was going to say, what is that you're going to click use? Yeah, I was just checking out. I was going to say something wrong there. And you're going to go into some housekeeping.
Have you got housekeeping?
Have we got housekeeping? What we got?
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Quickly run through these things.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
What we got there? So we
Mr.
got
Doris.
the Mr. Doris and D-Funk single is out there. Cruise Control, featuring myself, Mice Diggy. Please make sure you go and support that. It's out on all streaming platforms. You can get some physical material as well. You know what I mean? I've been working my ass off trying to work out how I was going to promote that. Do a real advertising style of speech. But I don't know
It
if
worked.
I pulled it off. Did I pull it off?
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. I was trying to give them the voice.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, the
You know,
Bad Bones album.
Voice of Chocolate Velvet Cake. That's what I was trying to give them. I don't know if it
Comes
I'm
across.
pulling it off. All right, and you got the Bad Bones production album. Jeez, produced by Ramson Bad Bones, lead by example, featuring a whole bunch of artists. If I try and reel them off, I'll get cotton mouth in less than 30 seconds. So I ain't even gonna, ain't gonna go there. And of course, the Smokey Joy and the Kid tour coming up next year. There's a whole bunch of dates on there. That last week I tried my best. I think I got to learn a bit more pronunciation in French before I try and pull that off.
No,
again.
it's good. They like it if you just do it the English way.
They like it when I mess
They
up.
like it.
Yeah, I guess
they do because it gives them a chance to correct you.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, D. That's it, mother lovers. You know what I mean? Go support the music if you can. You know, that's what it's out there for. For all you bitches and bitchettes, because we don't discriminate. Listen, we're going to get into this right about now because, I don't want to waste no more time. I've been excited about this. I've been following this guy for a little while now. And, man, the magic that he pulls up is crazy. At first, it might seem a bit like, what the hell is going on here for you guys? But listen, you trust me, right? This forehead don't shine for no reason, yeah? There's a reason why it shines like this. Don't ask me what that is yet. You know what I mean? That's a secret. But trust me, we're going to go deep diving on this one. Some shit you might not never know nothing about. With our Canadian connection. Is he with us? See Through the Script.
What's up, guys? How are you?
What's going on? Welcome.
Good.
Welcome. How are you, bro?
I'm blessed, guys. I'm blessed. I really appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Thank you,
man. Thanks for taking the time, bro, because, I know you do a lot of work outside of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. We all got lives to live, right? That's for sure.
Man, and it's crazy, man. So to see this. So, ladies and gents, this is See Through the Script.
Appreciate it. What's up, y'all? How's everybody doing? Again, I'm from Canada, for those who are curious.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate everybody tuning in. And yeah, like Mize Diggy said, man, we're going to get, a good deep dive into this interesting topic that is Gematria.
Gematria, exactly. Because we've spoken about it before on this show with one or two guests. But if you were going to break it down, like someone met you for the first time and said, what is Gematria? And to try and simplify it for them, how would you break it down to them?
Well, I would just let them know that it's essentially a practice of coding numbers into letters using the English alphabet of 26 letters. And I would first and foremost explain to them the English ordinal cipher. And that is when you tie the value of 1 to the letter A, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, all the way to Z or Z being the 26th letter. And when you spell out a word or a phrase, you will get a numerical value. With that numerical value, you will use that in connection with date numerology, and you will find patterns that will show you a deeper narrative to what you're actually seeing on the surface.
And this happens within, it's not just like in one language, right?
No, definitely not. This is a Jewish practice of Kabbalah. So it derives from Jewish mysticism, but it does have ties to several other languages. But the practice that we'll be going through today, for that matter, is going to be English Gematria.
English Gematria. So we'll keep it simple in it.
Definitely. Yes.
All right. And so
it's already interesting enough. So yeah.
Definitely, man. Definitely. There's so much been going on. And so how did you get into it? Like how did you come across it?
Basically I was, I've always been kind of into this information, I guess, of conspiracy, quote unquote. And during the pandemic and the lockdown, I was stuck working at home. So I decided to kind of dive back into my interest of, the conspiracy world. And I was looking through some videos, and what popped up in my suggestions was Gematria Effect News. And for those who are not familiar with Gematria Effect News, that's Zachary K. Hubbard. He runs that page. And what he does is phenomenal. He put out this information, and he's been doing it for a while, of the practice of gematria, coding numbers into words, connecting it with the date numerology, showing you patterns, etc. And I really just latched onto it. Like this was around very early 2020, so just after March, April-ish. So I was pretty new into it, and I still think I am. But to wrap it up, I mean, I just latched onto it, and I ended up getting his book. And I have to credit this man, because when I read this guy's book, Letters, Numbers, and Words, that really opened up an avenue for me to see things a lot different. So that's kind of how it started.
I'll give you respect for doing that, man, because a lot of people kind of will try and run with it like, nah, this is all me, this is how I, but for you to do that
Yeah, I
shows a
couldn't
lot of
say
respect,
that.
man.
I definitely couldn't.
And so before all of that, in terms of when you said you were into conspiracy, what was the sort of beginning, element that, what kind of news or what was it that made you go, yo, this world isn't what I think it is, man? I'm sure there's something more than,
you know, man, I tell everybody the same story when they ask me this. And I was chilling with a homie. I was probably like just before high school. So in Canada, you have grade 8, or up until grade 8 elementary school, then grade 9 through 12 is high school. So I was in grade 8 and chilling on my homie's porch, and I get a call from my cousin. And my cousin says, he's just like rambling on the phone, like, hey, yo, like, Jay-Z, you got to check this out. He put the pyramid in the one eye, and he's doing all this talk about this and this, just kind of rambling. And I don't know, like, me and my cousin had a good connection. So like, whenever he was 1 year older than me. So, your elders, you kind of look at them different when they say certain things.
yeah.
And, I was like, okay. Like, and he sent me a few links to watch about like Illuminati when I got home. And I watched them, and it was just crazy. I was like, all right, like, what's up with all this symbolism? Like, it's in movies, it's in like the music videos I've been watching, it's been in books. So how come people aren't talking about this more? And that definitely started it for me.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because the symbolism, you can sense, like, from the fact that you start seeing the pattern of different symbols popping up here and there, you realize as well, like, how much more they mean to the psyche, to the human psyche, as opposed to just words or sounds. It's like symbolism seems, whether it be whatever shapes, they seem to pop up, and straight away you have these they have an effect on you. But we're not in tune with it, obviously. But
well, you know what, for sure, man, because like when I started getting in tune with it a little bit more, I remember being at, friends' houses, and we would be watching a movie or whatever. And I would have to literally pause the movie and be like, yo, did you guys see that?
Yeah.
And they're like, see what, bro?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you didn't see that? Look, pause. And we would go back, and I would say, look, at like right there on the back of the taxi symbol, it says like New World Order, and there's a pyramid with an eye. And they're just like, oh, come on, man, you're looking a little too deep or whatever. You get the same generic replies from people. And it's like, what? Like, yo, if only you would just take a few minutes of your time to just check this out, you would say like, oh, you would see how it's clearly a pattern. Yeah. And it's stacking. So
pattern recognition, that's really a real important thing, right?
Yeah.
Have you got to that point now where things just pop up, whether it be a headline and you can already see it before you
300%, man.
Wow.
I can't even say 100%. That's 300 at this point. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, man. All right, let's get into a bit of it then. And yeah, we'll chit chat. I mean, we like to keep it more of a conversation as opposed to an interview. I
dig that. And I want to say, Dan DNA, I appreciate you pulling up the video there, because that helps. Even just for people to see that date numerology, the ciphers, etc.
Yeah.
So that was good. I appreciate that.
Cool.
He's our pro, man. He's the brains of this.
Yeah. He knows what's up. He knows what he's doing.
Apart from the audio.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good.
10 minutes of audio, boy. All right, let's get into. I think the people are ready, man. I'm sure they've got a bit more of an idea now. Not just of how the gematria works, but also like how it's good for people to understand how you've got into it and seen it, because then it feels a bit more like, okay, understandable, as opposed to, I don't know, when you know, we're speaking to, say it be white coats even, it's like they're speaking a language that you're just like, well, I don't really understand what they're saying, but it sounds like they know what it is, and you just accept it. As opposed to if you get to know, understand where someone's coming from, looking at all of this, now you'd be like, okay, I see their perception, and let me look through that lens, and now I might see it, you know?
Definitely,
so
definitely.
sort of
There's a
things
lot
are
of people
important.
that will come across this stuff and immediately dismiss it, but there's some people that come back and they're like, you know what? I stuck around a bit longer and I started to see some. So I feel like certain people just have an eye for things and pattern recognition, like you said.
Yeah, for sure. So should we, let's have a look at, I guess the meta would be a good one because that's quite a current.
Cool. Yeah, you want to dive into that story? So yeah, we can definitely do that. I'm sure. I mean,
Just
it's
to
worldwide, so
it'll
definitely,
just
I'm
give-
sure people are familiar with this one.
Yeah, that's it. It'll just give people.
exactly.
It's a nice story that everyone's familiar with from recent
Android looking
news
mother
or
lover
whatever,
right there. You know,
Cool. I'll get that right.
Everyone knows this Android now. If you don't know,
Oh, here we go. Yeah, let me just.
yo, he looks mad rubber, man. He just looks silicone. He looks like he's made from silicone.
You guys can see that, yeah? Everything's working good.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hang on.
No problem. Let me know when it's good.
Zoom.
Wow.
Yeah, this was an interesting story. Yeah, it came October 28th, so a little bit earlier in the year. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say that.
You're on
earlier
screen now,
before this. Cool. Okay, I see it. Cool. So, for the people who are new to this practice of Gematria, I'm gonna keep it as brief as I can, but you know, at the same time, get through it. We go through modern history, you know, past, present, news, sports. The idea of Gematria and what we're doing this for is to show that there is more to it, more to the world around you, and that everything is in a way sort of interconnected in a strange little web. And we try to simplify that through numbers and words. And basically, Facebook changes their company name to Meta. I'm sure everybody's aware of that news now, and you can see the logo to the right. As you can see with Gematria, we tie in the date numerologies or the day of the year with the numerical values of the phrases or words. And you can see that the day this news dropped was October 28th, the 301st day of the year. And company name change equals 301 in the reverse ordinal. So the reverse ordinal is simply taking the English ordinal and just flipping it backwards. So instead of starting with A to Z, it's Z to A. And Z holds the value of 1 and A holds the value of 26. And someone might be noticing here, just to give a little disclaimer, they're probably wondering like, hey, the word company is like misspelled a little bit. It is, my apologies, but luckily enough in Gematria, it's just a numerical value. Either way, you could, you know, part of my language, you can practically be dyslexic, but if you get the right letters, it's going to equal the right thing. But regardless,
that's a minor, man. I don't think anyone could really say anything about that, especially after what Dan did the last 10 minutes there.
Oh man,
joking,
no, we good. So something to preference though, just because you know, this topic is pretty deep, and every post that I do is in direct connection to the Grand Illuminati, is what you could refer to them as, which is actually the Jesuit order. And I'm not too sure for you guys on your end how familiar you guys are with the history of the Society of Jesus. So maybe you guys want to tip me in on that. What's your knowledge there?
IHS.
I'm aware of it, but some people out in the you know, listening might not be. So
would you class them as above you know, the Masonic order and Illuminati then?
That's a great question. Well, they're what most would look at as the tip of the spear. And the idea that the Illuminati and the Freemasons for that matter are under the branch of the Jesuit order. They are actually under both blind obedience to that allegiance. And this order is serving the Roman Catholic Church. And this has been founded since 1534 and officially recognized in Rome on September 27th in 1540. And since then, they have been actively the sidearm of the Roman Catholic Church. And, you know, I'm trying to bring in some history in the most briefest form, but the founder of the Jesuit order, Ignatius of Loyola, was actually part of the Alumbrados, which translates to enlightened, which is essentially what the Illuminati is, the enlightened ones. And the founder of the Illuminati later on in 1776, Adam Weishaupt, he was Jesuit educated. And you'll find in history, to kind of sum up the Jesuit connections here, that the political individuals in power, or the people that we see in general on our screen, from businessmen to sports athletes to entertainers, I think you guys get where I'm going. A lot of them have Jesuit education or ties. They actually have a term called lay agents of the Jesuits, and they're essentially individuals who aren't so open about their ties, but they work under the scenes, behind the scenes per se. So this group is definitely the tip of the spear once you start to dive in further and further and see how they have that phrase per se, all roads lead to Rome. You really see the relevance through the practice of gematria. So hopefully that connects, that Jesuit connection for the people there. And also, and in terms of the Jesuits as well, is it a case of they're you're saying that people are Jesuit educated? Does that mean that they run certain schools, certain colleges, universities? Yes, 100%. So the Jesuits actually they were teachers because in their early history they realized that the power of education would be very useful, and if they were to create the most esteemed schools throughout Europe and have the upper echelon bring their children there, they realized how they could use the funding from the parents and essentially educate their children to mold into their agenda and to believe in their ideologies. So since early on, the Jesuits are educators, and till this day, they represent a lot of our branches of local government and federal governments all across the world. The Jesuits actually operate in 112 countries, and that's something that's listed just publicly if anybody would want to Google that.
Serious? That's crazy, man.
So they have a broad reach, and in terms of education in the United States, for example, I believe they have around 27, 28 Jesuit universities, and all of them are very esteemed and very pricey and hard to get into, for example. A lot of them are private and there's a reason for that, right?
Yeah, because it makes it seem like this is a school you really need to go to.
Exactly.
Oh, this is prestigious. Really? Okay.
Yeah, exactly, right? With, and what's funny, real quick, just something to point out, because this name's very popular, but Bill Gates, everybody, we're talking about Mark Zuckerberg, might as well quickly bring in Bill Gates. He himself actually is funding a lot of Jesuit high schools throughout the United States, help funding and building them. So you got to question, why would a man that's been bombarded in our face early on in this time of the pandemic be supporting this entity when you know what this entity is truly behind?
Man, what a way to control. And so obviously if they knew having prestigious teaching was a thing, then obviously they knew not having it was a thing as well, and they could probably control those people that go to those sort of schools a lot easier, because they don't really understand the world the way they should. They're not thinking, they don't know how to think.
Exactly, right. And if you can control the young minds and mold them to how you want them to think for a future world, that will only ease the process and completing a goal.
I mean, they've changed races. They've changed. They've managed to make a whole group of people believe they're from somewhere else doing that sort of thing, and that's through the children. So it makes sense, man. All right, so let's carry on then. So obviously, I think people definitely get an idea now of how powerful this order is. So you probably see this name coming up here, there, and everywhere now. Once you hear it, if you've never heard about the Jesuits, you're going to start hearing.
I hope you'll definitely keep it in mind after tonight's video.
All right.
But to carry on, you can see that Mark Zuckerberg, his full name and the full reduction cipher equals 69. And to briefly explain this cipher, it's essentially the English ordinal, but you're reducing every double-digit letter. So, for example, J is the 10th letter of the alphabet, and 1 plus 0 equals 1. So J holds the value of 1 instead of holding the value of 10 like it would in the English ordinal cipher. And that being said, they consider that the most pure because you're reducing the numbers to their purest form.
Mhm.
Mark Zuckerberg, 69, the Jesuit order, 69, Jewish mysticism, 69. Meta, the name that they changed it to, equals 69. So these are what we mean by seeing patterns between who's behind these individuals, who's controlling them, how they're coding them, and how they're coding the names that they're giving.
That's
Now,
pretty interesting as well. That what
yeah,
they reduce to
it's crazy stuff.
and even what they that number 69 reduces to is quite interesting because that's probably going to pop up everywhere as well.
Exactly. The reductions and like simple numerology is very in depth as well. But you can see this is to tie in, for example, like date durations from Mark's 37th to the name change. So Mark Zuckerberg's birthday is on May 14th, 2021 to October 28th, 2021 is a span of 167 days. 167 is the 39th prime number. So you also factor in the relationships numerically with numbers. Like when I said prime number, 167 is the 39th prime number. That's something that we also look into when we're observing these patterns. And the 39 is interesting because in the most basic cipher, where A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, the name that it changed it to, meta, equals 39. So they always tie these events to the focal point or the focal individual that they want you to pay attention to. They have it directly connected to that individual's birthday.
These same people gave us the calendar as well, right?
Exactly. Pope Gregory. Yep, exactly. The Gregorian calendar. So it just shows you that we're truly running on their time, which is why this would furthermore back up the point that it is the Jesuit order because the Jesuits serve the Roman Catholic Church.
Jeez, boy. All right.
And it's crazy,
Nuts,
man.
man.
Trust me, every time, even doing it for a little while now, and I haven't done it for that long. There's, like I said, there's people out there that have done it longer.
For sure.
even the time I've been doing it, it's just mind blowing.
Yeah, but every day, man.
Every day. And from the name change to Mark's upcoming birthday, so they also factor in the fact from his previous birthday and also to the birthday coming up, right? That's a span of 199 days, another prime relationship, 199, the 46th prime. Thursday, the day they announced it, equals 46. In the reverse full reduction cipher and name change, the phrase name change equals 199 and 46, as we see 199, the 46th prime. So I'll try to speed it up. I think this one's pretty much going to wrap up pretty soon, but the name / logo was made public on October 28th, a date that's written 10/28, at least, or 28, at least in North America. I know you guys write it a little bit different. It would be 28/10, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
However, you can see that with the number 0, it's null in numerology. It holds no value. So you can essentially drop that number, leaving you with 128, just like how meta logo equals 128 in reverse ordinal. Now, something that I just thought that was interesting while I was looking into this story, the stock ticker FB, they changed it to MVRS because it's the metaverse. And metaverse MVRS and money are practically a 4-for-4 match in our 4 base ciphers. And that's something that's always interesting when you get a match out of the 4 base ciphers opposed to maybe a connection or 2. Some would call that in the community a super match. So something interesting to keep in mind in relation to the fact that the stock ticker is all about money.
Yeah. It's true. It looks like Mars as well. It does look like the word Mars.
Yeah. So this is another thing that's pretty interesting, but I'll briefly read this here just to connect this because I state that Zuckerberg is a Jesuit coadjutor, and a Jesuit coadjutor is another agent of the Jesuits. I actually explained this because this comes from several sources. However, Frederick Tupper Saucy, he has a book. I actually have it, a little reading that I did from his book where he explains what a Jesuit coadjutor is and how they basically come in many shapes and forms from different career paths. As Jesuits are very diverse, they come in theologians, businessmen, statesmen, lawyers, educators, poets, artists, etc. So they like to diverse their reach and how they can pull in people per se.
Yep.
And Saturn worship is something that's very important when it comes to the esoteric world. Saturn worship, to sum it up, we can actually just read it here. For example, why did the Romans worship Saturn? The planet Saturn might be named because it's the slowest one to orbit the sun, and Saturn is connected with time and Chronos. Another theory is that in ancient times, Saturn was the farthest known planet from the sun, so the Greeks made it sacred to Chronos, and the Romans made it sacred to Saturn. And Hellenistic astrology, each day of the week is named after a planet, and Saturday is named after Saturn.
Yeah.
And it's the 6th day of the week. Saturday is the 6th planet. So it's very much encoded in our world. And that being said, Meta
remember?
and Saturn in the 4-base ciphers have another super match.
Mm.
And again, the Romans, who we're talking about, the Roman Catholic Church, have a deep appreciation for the god Chronos, or Saturn.
Yeah. Could you just quickly go back just to explain to people, because there's obviously you got 39 and then you got 93, and
yes,
there's
and then the 24 and 42.
And
that's a good point.
yeah.
And the 12 and 21.
Mm-hmm.
So something that's a very good point. Something in numerology that's very important to factor in Kabbalah. The idea of reflections numerically are just as important. They're just as relevant as the actual match itself, because it is essentially the same number proposition, just literally positioned different. It's a mirror, it's a reflection. So that's something that's common within numerology. So that's a good point to bring up. You could see the 24, the 42, 12, 21, 39, 93.
And even if you did it the other way, you could see it with the 69, you know, like.
And exactly. For example,
crazy,
right?
bro.
Yeah. Either way you flip it there, it's going to match. So very good point to bring up.
All right.
Now,
this is very interesting.
This is very interesting. I got to show love to the community, man, because ever since doing this, there's a lot of people that, send me good information and they help me out along my, journey decoding things. And I had someone point out that the Meta logo is based off I don't even know if I'm going to pronounce this right, guys. Ouroboros. I don't.
Ouroboros.
You guys let me know if I'm sounding that right.
Ouroboros.
I'm struggling with it.
Ouroboros. Yeah.
Ouroboros. Well, you guys see it. So it's an ancient symbol depicting a serpent or a dragon eating its own tail. The Ouroboros entered Western tradition in ancient Egyptian iconography and the Greek magical tradition. It was adopted as a symbol in Gnosticism and Hermeticism, and notably in alchemy. So you could see the similarity between the image above and the Meta logo at the bottom. And notice the spelling of the word Ouroboros equals 42 and 93 in the full reduction and reverse ordinal. And then we also have the 39, 93 with Saturn and Meta.
Man, that is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and these usage of ancient symbolism within our modern day pop culture and world around us is furthermore to just I at times just think it's the mockery, because of the fact that so little of us actually know what this stuff is. And again, I'm learning every day. I didn't entirely know what this was until I've seen it and I had to look into it. You know what I mean? So they're really throwing certain symbols at us.
And it's
all over.
Does it feel like, because there's times when I felt like, okay, maybe is it a case of the people that know about this, they're obviously looking at the headlines, they're reading the parts of whatever paragraph or sentence that they need to figure out, and then they're just like, oh, okay, that's one of us. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a way to connect with or show allegiance to a certain group, right? I think it's a way of like making sure that it's happening everywhere, and we're going to make sure it's happening by showing you or showing them for themselves that matter, that they're in compliance, I guess you could say, because this is truly a worldwide agenda. Despite using English Gematria, these stories that we sometimes cover are international stories per se.
Yes, universal.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, hey, for even for this sake, this is the metaverse. This is something that's going to be used worldwide. So
next level, man.
Yeah. Let me know where you want to go from there, man. You tell me which ones you want me to kind of touch on,
So
or
let's
any stories.
we not too long ago. So let's go to 5th of November.
Okay, yes, the Travis Scott thing. So I want to keep this as brief as I can. Yeah, I don't want to hog up the show.
Do you know what it was? Well, no. This is bro. This is your show, man.
Yeah.
You're the guest, so don't
Appreciate
feel
that,
no way,
man.
Well, actually, it was I wasn't gonna go to that first of all. It was gonna be
Oh.
you've got the date. There's like the link that I sent you to do with 56.
Oh, okay. So all the 56s on
Yeah, what was that? I think I sent you the link for that one.
here.
And I
Okay,
said,
give me a second here. I'll try to pull it up actually. All right. Bear with me, guys.
yeah, Guy Fawkes and all that. Yes, remember the 5th of November, mother lovers.
Yes.
Why do you think you've always got to hear
that was
that?
a very interesting one, man.
Why?
That was a very
For what
interesting one
reason?
indeed.
Why would that, from a kid, you've remembered the 5th of November? Always. You know what I mean? Why would that be?
Okay. Here, I clicked the link. I think
Oh, is it?
this one's, but I'm just thinking the one that you sent for the link to me to go through, it's just more or less a couple examples of how they use 56 on that day. I can still show it.
Well, that
It's
was
not
the
too much on
interesting
the
thing
Guy
because it's
Fawkes
all
one,
on the same day. Yeah. But have you got some on Guy Fawkes or?
Well, I have the interesting connection or tidbit to the idea or the connection with Travis Scott's concert.
Okay.
That big event on that anniversary.
All right, do that.
That's something that's there.
Yeah, let's just do
but
that.
I mean, definitely that event happening on the day leaving 56 days in the year is no coincidence, to say the least.
And I think this link kind of, I guess in my mind, is like this shows how important certain dates are to them. And for us,
I could,
we've got
I can still go through this really quick if you want.
It's up to you.
But yeah, you let me know. I could show the Ghislaine Maxwell one. It's up to you.
Yeah, do that one then. If it's better.
That's
It's a Ghislaine.
No, I don't even know if
How
I'm
do you
saying her
pronounce
name
it?
right,
Yeah,
man.
no
I'm
one
not the
knows
best
how to
name
say it.
pronouncer.
What the hell, man? She's so famous, she still can't pronounce her name,
Yeah, I
bro.
know.
Ghislaine.
All right. Let me pull that up right quick. This one is something a little more simple when I get it up. Where is it? Here it is.
And that's why these headlines are the way they are, man.
My bad, y'all. My laptop about to die. Let me get that right.
Yeah, man.
Okay. So let's see here. I think I got it. And then boom, let me share it up again. Cool. All right. So it should be working shortly.
Yeah, this is pretty nuts.
Okay, hold on. Let me just reset this window.
All right. Let me know when you guys can see it, and I'll go through it.
All right.
Yeah, this number stuff for the people new here. I know it's a little interesting, but if it does pique your interest, tap in with your boy and just stick around and, keep your eyes open. You'll see the patterns yourself.
For real, man. And it's interesting as well. It's not, I think people look at it and they're like, oh man, this stuff will send me crazy. But you just look at the art as opposed to, what's going on.
Oh, I understand too, really, like for the most part, just real brief, like how people, might dismiss it right away, numerology, etc. But the way this is put together is hopefully a bit more palatable.
Okay, you're on the screen.
I think
Perfect.
It is, man.
I think I see it now too. So this is off my Instagram page. And basically on November 26th, Ghislaine Maxwell, if I'm saying that right, trial started Monday. And for those familiar with the Jeffrey Epstein story, the sex trafficking and all that sort of bad stuff that's going on in the media and how they're sort of hiding this. They're just giving us like court sketches and, it's a very shady story to say the least. But again, I'm the numbers guy. So I just point out interesting numerical patterns within this. And something to point out right away was the fact that from Epstein's 2-year anniversary of his death to Ghislaine's first day of trial, that's August 10th, as this man to the left died August 10th, 2021 to November 29th, 2021 is a span of 111 days. So 111. We're getting into why those triple digits are important, or those repetitive digits. And you can see again, he died on August 10th in 2019. And that's the day, that's the 222nd day of the year. Another rep digit. Her first day of trial began on the 333rd day of the year. That's November 29th. Another rep digit. In Gematria, there's the English Sumerian cipher, which is taking the English ordinal and multiplying it by 6. So instead of A starting with 1, A starts with 6, B starts with 12, C starts with 18, etc., going up in increments of 6. When you spell out the word energy, occult, Lucifer, Jesus, Jewish, English, Gematria, and Masonic, they all hold the value of 444. And we are using the practice of Gematria to decode these things.
This reminds me of
Now,
certain album.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Certain album was the name 444, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, exactly. And you know what's funny? Rapper in the same cipher equals 444, and that's Jay-Z who you're referring to. Yep,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So in light of what we were mentioning, the sex trafficking, you can see how in a Jewish cipher, and remember this is a Jewish practice, Gematria, it holds the value of 666. Now, again, something that I'm pointing out throughout this, and I'm sure you guys are recognizing, is we're seeing a lot of rep digits like 111, 222, 444, etc. And in recreational mathematics, a rep digit or sometimes a monodigit is a natural number composed of repeated instances of the same digit in a positional number system. So this is how they form their patterns and rituals numerically, because they believe numbers hold frequency. And although we might not be aware of what they're doing, they know what's up. This is how they operate. The Jesuits are a military order before a religious order. And military moves precise. They move on time. And all of these things that I showed are rituals in time.
That's crazy, man. Yo, big up for that, boy. That's, when I saw that, I was like, what? Like, you can't call that a coincidence, man. I mean, it's obviously a lot to sift through to sort of get there. But when you see that's the sort of pattern that they use, like it's not just a one-off. It's like a lot of things sort of connect with either birthdays or how many days are left in the year or how many days have passed,
Exactly, because a lot of people are like, oh my God, this news happened. And I'm like, so shocked. Like, I didn't expect this, or you know what I mean? And this Gematria and understanding the usage of Gematria and Kabbalah in this world, you could see how you can make sense of what's happening before you. You will understand more like, oh, this is why this person was put into power on this day. This is why this happened on this day, et cetera, et cetera.
Man, on point. That's exactly it. And it's amazing how much of it as well is out there. It's
like
business.
Sometimes myself, I can't fathom, how they are able to have everything so encoded. And one can only imagine, because I'm truly just one from the outside looking in, honestly. But again, like you said, you can't dismiss certain things after they stack, because once it's observational, and once you start getting, okay, this 38, this guy died at 38, this guy died at 38, this guy, and etc. You're like, okay, this is how something is. There's definitely something to this.
Would you? I mean, I've heard people talk about even further that there's some stuff where for a fact it's not. There's nothing, no conspiracy. There's nothing behind it. No two people planning this, and it still has some form of order. And so
like organic gematria, I guess you could say.
Is that what they call it? Organic gematria.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think something that's cool for for people to do when they're new to this knowledge is almost decode themselves. And I mean, someone would have to kind of understand how this works, obviously, before they just jump into it. But you know what? Here, actually, something I could show on the screen is the website that I highly recommend people going to, the gematrinator.com, created by a guy named Derek. He's very big in the Gematria community as well. A very big helping hand into, giving people this website
I
to
think it might have
use
been.
to actually decipher what they're seeing. As he says, decode your false reality.
I think it actually might have been him who was talking about this. He was saying, he feels like there's something bigger than just a bunch of people sort of working this thing out.
I think
Like
there's
this.
definitely more to the idea of Gematria, because Gematria is just one practice from a bigger methodology, which is Kabbalah. So there's definitely more to this, and it does happen organically. Like there is things that you will find in your life, like something happens to you on a certain day, or if you were even to just tap in and look into it, you would see, like, I'm going to give a random example because I actually have a video about it. On my YouTube channel, I have a video. I'm not going to play it, but if someone wants to see a good example of how to sort of decipher things organically, I have a video called My Experience with the Organic Matrix. And I essentially talk about, it's a very random story. It's nothing serious at all, honestly. It's literally about how I got a bike and the day I got the bike, and how odd that I got the bike on a very interesting day, apart from my days away from my birthday, and the word bike matched it, and etc. So it was a very simple and light example, but yeah, just to get to that point.
Yeah, so it's things like that, or you're like, okay, I know that's not a conspiracy.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like, this is my life. I don't live by this code, just to let people know I live a very normal life, just like you and the rest of everybody listening. I don't type in a word like, oh, pi equals 30. I'm going to eat it on the 30th day of the month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But things will just happen in strange ways. And I think you just have to have the eyes to see it and the willingness to open your mind to it.
Yeah. And it's also the sort of intent, like you have to kind of be willing to want to spend the time to do it, right? Like, because I think for a lot of people, it's like, oh, I ain't got time for all of that there, but
oh, I agree, man. I think
all
it takes is just something to pique your interest, and once it does, you'll do the rest of the work yourself, and it won't be like work. It'll actually be fun. It'll be interesting because again, like I say, I try to say this every time. Like, I'm learning every day, truthfully. Every day I look into something, it leads me into a little bit of a rabbit hole. So
amazing,
you just got to be willing to do that, though.
Yeah, for sure. Crazy, man. Yeah. So the Sumerian, I just wanted to ask about the Sumerian, because that's obviously an ancient language, but they do it it's Sumerian, but in English. So it's the fact that it's
just
times
using
by
the English
6.
alphabet per se.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this cipher is very interesting, and something that this is a personal preference on my end, but for someone new to the practice of Gematria, I always advise first and foremost to learn your 4 base ciphers, which is the ones that I was presenting in the video, which is like your English, your full reduction, and your reverse and reverse full reduction. The reason being there is in reverse is because you almost want to think of the idea of like as above, so below, forwards and backwards. Satan does everything backwards. This is we're discussing the topic of society of Jesus, Lucifer, Satan, devil, etc. So when things are done, it's perversed. So this is why we read the ciphers forwards and backwards. But yeah, the English Sumerian cipher, for anybody that just briefly wants to see it, again, it is the same 26 letter alphabet, just going in increments of 6, A6, B12, etc. You know what? Something that's real quick that I would love to show an example of, just to kind of show people like real life, real deal examples. Not that what we just looked at wasn't, but
I know what you mean.
of how simple Gematria could really be. In your reduction ciphers, it's very important to have your forwards and backwards. So the forwards being the dark blue, backwards being the light blue. If you look here, the word Catholic equals 35 and 46. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because a quick Google search could tell you that the first Catholic president, JFK, he was the 35th. I'll zoom in here, but he was the 35th United States president. He's the first Catholic. Let me know if you guys can see that. If that's clear.
Yeah.
Perfect. So he's the 35th first Catholic president. And if you look at his the day he was born and his assassination, and you see that he died a span of, or he lived to the age of 46. My apologies. So the first Catholic president was the 35th Catholic president to die at the age of 46. How convenient in Gematria, Catholic, and the reduction ciphers, which are considered to be the most pure because you're breaking down numerology or the numbers to the most singular form, equals 3546. And now, if you think about it, in the United States, the second ever Catholic president is currently in office right now, who goes by none other than Joe Biden, who is the 46th president.
Yeah.
Right. And he's the second ever Catholic. And again, if you don't see your forwards and backwards, you wouldn't know that Catholic equals 46. And just to quickly show the cipher, it's the same thing, just like the concept of forward and backwards in English in reverse ordinal. You're just taking Z and starting with Z with the value of 1. And A, the reason why A equals 8 at the end is because, again, it's a 26-letter alphabet. Technically, this is the 26th letter, and 2 plus 6 is 8.
Okay.
So you're just, again, you're reducing
because it's full reduction, right? Okay.
Wow. So yeah, here I can even just quickly show. So like, there's, not to take up too much time, but the English ordinal again, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, etc. And then you have the English ordinal, or sorry, the full reduction, where again, J is the 10th letter. Even if you go back to this, you could see J equals 10, or holds the value of 10. But in this cipher, it holds the value of 1. And that's just simply because 1 plus 0 is 1. K, the 11th letter, 1 plus 1, 2, etc., etc.
Okay. Yeah. That's starting to make a lot more sense now. And obviously, yeah, because it's 26 letters, you only get to 8. There's no 9 there.
Exactly. I know this one sometimes threw a couple of people off when they first look at it. I think this one is definitely the most simple to get right away. And something even more interesting to point out is that if you spell out Gematria, it equals 74, and English equals 74, and simple. The practice of this is simple English Gematria. And you can see in the most basic simple cipher that simple English Gematria all hold the value of 74. So there's a lot of interesting connections in Gematria like that. When you go through this practice and you just kind of take it as you go. Like I said, I highly recommend people, because a lot of people will want to look at a start point. And luckily I do have a lot of videos out there that people can look into and hopefully learn from. That's the goal. But if they want some sort of book to go to, I recommend checking out Gematria Effect News, his book, Letters, Numbers, and Words. That's where I got my start. And that really clarifies a lot of things as you go through this.
All right. So how do you keep your sanity looking at all of this madness?
What's that?
How do you keep your sanity, like looking at all of this? You know?
Great question, man. Great question. Well, definitely when looking at this stuff early on, it was really overwhelming. And trying to show this to your peers, they look at you a little side-eyed, kind of like, hey, like, what are you up to? And you try to just simplify this in the most, easiest form. But this is a lot to take in. And I realized over time, as I started diving and writing things out and making note of things, I thought, why not share these things? Someone else is going to probably find this interesting too. If I found this interesting and I've seen this from this individual, Gematria Effect News, I'm sure other people will find this interesting. So that having an outlet to share this information and speak to even guys like yourself, right, Dan, DNA, and you, it's helpful for me, definitely.
That's nice, man.
Yeah,
that's really good to hear, man. Because just looking at there's so many things where I'm just like, wow, this is nuts, man. Like, there's no way you can say that this isn't planned in some form of way. Especially obviously with the news, people got to think about, okay, so we understand they've given us the numbers. They made up the numbers, yeah. They made, or even if they didn't, they took over. Then they started giving us the language. It all birthed from Latin, but in different forms of ways, they've sort of connected with other languages and And then now, it's all based off of like a style of dog Latin or whatever, vulgar Latin. We're not speaking proper, we're not speaking the true words in their eyes. In their eyes, we're communicating with each
Yeah.
other, but in their eyes, we're
Yeah.
speaking a dead language.
This language, yeah, is definitely very much a coded language. Undoubtedly, this language was standardized and has a much deeper purpose. And I really do think that Gematria and English Gematria really helps you understand how this language is used and manipulated. Because you look at words, like sun and sun, sun, son, sound the same, complete different purposes. There's tons of examples like that in the English language. And you just question, why is it like that? Or the spelling of certain words.
Yeah.
There certain words might have letters that are silent for what reason? You might wonder, why does the word, some people really do question, like, why does knife have to start with a K?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes you think. It's like, why does it? Is it because it's coded? Is there something deeper to it? So
Yeah. That's interesting. It's true, man. And that's what I was getting at, is the fact that then, so giving us this language, of course they can make sure it all lines up with whatever numbers they decide,
Exactly.
or, and these sort of things are linked, or this word means this, like we talk about morning, when people say good morning.
Ah, dude, exactly. Great example, man. Yeah, exactly. We say good morning, but morning is something we do when, we're sad and we see someone passing, but we're saying good morning, or weekend.
You're morning
and,
when you're at awake. You're at awake, right? And then what are you doing when you get up? You wake up, I'm awake. It's like, nah, so all these words that we're using, they almost seem like they're part of the mockery as well.
100%, man, 100%. And that's why I really do subscribe to the idea that knowledge is power, because the more you understand, the more you know, the more I believe you could free yourself, despite it's overwhelming. If you have enough mental capacity and strength to, take it in stride, you'll get there. No one's built to learn everything, but we could only, do so much and try our best.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's also what you're into, because there's so much of this hidden sort of knowledge, occult knowledge out there. I guess you can also just dive deep into what you're into as opposed to everything, because that might really cluster the mind as well.
Exactly. And that's what I think Gematria is cool for, is because there is a community in the Gematria community. There's a lot of people who decode sports, and they love sports. Like, literally, they're calling out games, and they're literally calling out who's going to win, and etc. And that's something that's big in this community, and that's what's pulled in a lot of people. I myself, I don't choose to dive into it, just because, again, it's not my ideal interest, right? But there's other people that jump into this community, and that's what it is, and that's how they learn it, and I think it's cool. So exactly what you said is right.
So is are you sort of got a music background or anything? Is that why because your sort of content seems to be more geared around the sort of
hip hop and entertainment? Yeah, definitely, man. I definitely dip and dabble with music here and there. I make beats, write lyrics, etc. That's something that I did and still do, kind of in the background. So yeah, looking into hip hop albums and stuff like that, and that was interesting for me. That was definitely interesting for me, because that's how I always saw it. From hip hop, I saw that the artists. Like, I think you guys can see what I have on the screen here with the one eyes everywhere.
Yeah. Can you break down what does that mean? What's that about, the one eye situation?
So what's interesting about the all-seeing eye, or the eye of providence, this is a symbol within Catholicism that's well known, and it's been around for a while. It holds a lot of relevance. And this symbol is something that I think is fascinating, how people overlook, or truly just deny, because it's literally everywhere. And I think there's a conflicting opinion in exactly what it means, but I think ultimately we understand that it is not a positive symbol. And the all-seeing eye is like the mind's eye, the controlling of the mind eye. And they have all these celebrities, politicians, and etc. flashing the symbol. And we're talking about people just not seeing things, again, or not recognizing patterns. Outside of gematria numbers, there's just straight signs and symbols. And look how many of these public figures are all holding this symbol in all different ways, blinking, hair covering it, The list
The
goes on.
shadows.
This is actually a British magazine, so
Yeah.
ID magazine from Vice. I believe the guy who runs it is Terry Jones.
Interesting seeing Greta there. There
Yeah.
must have
Oh
been some
man.
faces
Oh,
people were like,
she's a whole other topic. But hey, let just to show you guys something, right? All-seeing eye and the most pure cipher in Gematria, just to make it easy so you guys can see one thing. All-seeing eye equals 56. The number 56 is very, very big in connection to the Society of Jesus, who, again, many in this community and many outside of even the Gematria community, I guess you could say a truther community, would believe are the main culprits behind what we witness in this world. And all-seeing eye and Society of Jesus equal 56. The number 56 is very, very interesting in the time that we're living in. Granted, we're living in the time of this, right? Coronavirus, C virus, or whatever you want to call it.
the Rona, baby.
And Ronavirus, right? So we have Ronavirus equals 56. And I'm not sure if you guys remember, but early on, they were basically telling people to go crazy and people were buying toilet paper, right? People were buying toilet paper at the start of Ronavirus.
Yeah, because they thought, oh my gosh, the world's ending because I can't wipe my ass with toilet tissue that smells like flowers. Flowers.
Sometimes you question, like, were they under like mass media mind control? You know what I mean? And the fact that mind control equals 56. But you go down this list and you start seeing how phrases used in the media, like, for example, COVID outbreak equal 56. And something now that they're pushing very heavily, the V, you know, the poke or the jab, whatever you want to call it. You see that equals 56. So you start to go down the list in Gematria. And this is, again, all in that most pure cipher, reducing numbers to their most purest form. You start to see that these words and numbers have a very, very interesting relationship between each other.
56 pops up like a mother lover as well. Like,
well, you know what's even crazier too, now that I just thought about it, this is why you need to know reverse, because in reverse full reduction, the year when spelt out in words, 2020 equals 56. And that's when we got all of this news, right? Of the CV, the outbreak, the toilet paper. And also you said something early on, which was, I can't even remember if it was just before the live or not, but how they're really making it so open this time around. You know what I mean? It's like, it's really everywhere. It's just so easy to see at this point. It seems so easy to see if you understand what to look for, right?
Yeah, for those with eyes to see and ears to hear, it's definitely being so blatant right now, you know? And so it just, I think that's what even triggers people now, where you're just like, what? People can't see what's going on. They're going mad because they're seeing zombies everywhere, you know?
Oh, exactly, man. Exactly. Like, if you look at the word in the most basic cipher, English ordinal, the word pandemic, the word pandemic equals 65. This number 65 is very interesting because I don't know if you guys heard of Event 201 from the Johns Hopkins University, funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Forum, World Economic Forum, and Johns Hopkins University. But they ran a simulation about prior to COVID-19, and it was discussing, how the world would handle a situation of a pandemic happening. And I want to see if I can briefly find it here. They state here in this, I could probably pull it up. Give me a second here. I want you guys to see this. 65 million.
201, that's another powerful number as well.
Oh, yes, this number is huge. Where is it? They state 65 million people in the hypothetical pandemic simulation could potentially die. 65 million. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time finding it here. I'm so sad, but it's 65. Definitely here. But again, 65, because the word pandemic equals 65. And again, it's a pandemic simulation that they're touching on. And something else, just an interesting little tidbit, but I just found this out not too long ago. Per minute, I believe. Yeah, look at this. you could just, anybody could check this out. They've been releasing this article that Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna are making a combined profit of 65,000 every minute during the pandemic. Pandemic 65. And that's what I mean about like this code of letters and numbers is used throughout mainstream media to basically encode right in front of us.
So look, now you can go to the one that we skipped, because that was exactly what made me say, yeah, we should use this as well, because this is how significant this number 56 is.
Yes, yeah, the 56s, yeah. Oh, sorry, did you want me to show something in specific?
Yeah, you know out of the 4 links I DM'd you, the one that was
I think it's this one, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly. Okay, so with the 56s, in light of everything that we just discussed, all those 56s, on November 5th, the day leaving 56 days in the year, we saw a lot of interesting headlines that just had 56 thrown into it for what would seem to be no reason for most people. But when you have the eyes to see, you'll know why. Squid Game's character Ho Yeon Jung's has now has 56 times more Instagram followers than she did 2 months ago. Again, these are just, I'm literally just showing the brief. I don't go deep into any of these stories. Mm-hmm. I did this post purely to show how the number 56 would be flourishing throughout the headlines on this day, leaving 56 days in the year. That day as well, November 5th, 56 cars entered, for the 2021 Super Taikyu finale at Okayama. So again, 56 cars. The news dropped on the 56th minute of the hour. And again, day leaving 56 days in the year. Look at this story. This is what I mean about, you got to question, like, are these stories even, this is why I didn't go in depth, because
for real.
It's like, what are these stories? Man faces multiple counts of burglary after 56 TVs stolen from train. When did the news drop, right? Leaving 56 days in the year, 56 TVs. Like, who does that? One man, 56 TVs. The image doesn't even look real. It looks like it's from the 90s or something.
Mockery, yeah. He's just looking.
I really just question, because a lot of the times the news is used as a tool to manipulate and fearmonger. And if you can fake, this is going to sound bold to some people, but if you fake news and the people, we can't really verify a lot of these details. Can we verify it was actually 56 TVs? What if it was only 12? What if it was no TVs? What if it never happened?
Yeah. Like, his face even looks like they just told him what this is going to be, what this picture's for. And he's like, what?
Yeah, he's like, wait a second, I stole 56 TVs? You know what I mean? Like
you just stole 56 TVs.
Yeah, man.
He's like, in 2021, nigga?
Yeah, you feel me? So, like, it's just, it's wild. Look at this.
He's like, 2021?
We're out here talking about Facebook and Meta. So there was a story on that day, save 56% on Facebook portal device for video calls. Again, it's the most miscellaneous details, but they do it because numbers hold a frequency, they hold importance, it's coding, there's a method to their madness. And again, Society of Jesus 56, again, news dropped on the day leaving 56 days in the year. RIP, former radio personality Scott Hoffman dies at 56. News was held to this day, leaving 56 days in the year. They have to pull up this individual's age. Paulina Porizakova, 56, bears it all, et cetera, et cetera. The headlines really mean nothing to me, these headlines.
Yeah.
I'm only showing these to show patterns. That's all. And again, another last example here. I was just, seeing tons. It was just literally throughout my day of just, at work, looking through news while I had free time, et cetera. And I said, oh, look at that, convenient usage of the code right in front of your face.
Crazy, man.
Definitely. But yeah, man, let me know if there's anything you want me to show, if there's anything you want to see. So I feel like I've been talking a lot, but
Oh man, yeah, no, sorry. I mean, it's just so interesting, bro. Like, there's so many things that I've wanted to ask when I'm looking through your material. And so getting the chance to do that now, and obviously for the newcomers to all of this, I think it's important, man. I wanted to look at, you had stuff, there's quite a bit of UK stuff.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Here, I got a good story on, RIP to this individual. You guys would know him better than I do. Sir David Amos, if I'm saying that name right.
Yeah, and
conservative MP stabbed to death.
Yeah.
So you guys, are you guys familiar with when this story happened?
Yeah.
All right. So here, there's always reason to why these stories happen the day they do, and Gematria helps you see it. So first and foremost, his name, David Amos, equals 97 and 34, an English ordinal full reduction. Murder has that reflection of 79 and 97 in the English ordinal, but a perfect match in full reduction of 34. And he was murdered. He was stabbed. The date numerology, when added as such, so the date numerology is just breaking down the numbers respectively, the month, the day, the year, and you get the value of 46. And stabbed equals 46, sacrifice equals 46. Why is the word sacrifice there? Because this individual was a member of government. The government is in direct control with the Jesuit order. And they do believe in the idea of ritualistic sacrifice. It is something that is noted in their oath. And that being said, he was stabbed on a 46 numerology. From David's 69th to his death is a span of 204 days. That's March 26th to October 15th, 2021. Stabbed in the Jewish cipher, again, this is a Jewish practice, equals 204. Now, the number 38 is mad interesting because that number ties it all in, I would always say. From David's death to what would have been his upcoming 70th birthday, October 15th to March 26, 2022, is a span of 163 days. Again, with the prime relationship, 163 is the 38th prime number. Within our 4 base ciphers, you can see all these words hold the value of 38. Kabbalah, the practice that we're using, Gematria, the element that stems from Kabbalah, equals 38. Death, murder, RIP, killing, all equal 38. He died 163 days from his upcoming birthday, the 38th prime number.
Whoa.
To quickly rear into it, David Amos equals 65. Conservative MP equals 65, which was his title. And often that's what was listed on the headlines. Because a lot of the words you see here, or the phrases, they're not typically just me like spelling out words and being like, oh, this equals this. This is coming from the source itself and just essentially plugging in the words that they use. Simple copy and paste, you could say. Now, what I wanted to mention about October 15th and why, if you guys were familiar with that day, October 15th, numerically written 10/15 in North America, 115. Because again, zeros hold no value. So it's 115. Killing, as this man was stabbed, equals 115. Masonic equals 115. And again, the Masons are under direct obedience to the Jesuit order. The G in the Masonic compass that you guys are probably familiar with actually is in representation of the general of the Jesuits, who is often referred to as the superior general or the Black Pope, who is more behind the scenes. And this is all stuff that people are like, what is he talking about? Like, you can definitely pause the video after the fact and fact check what I'm saying. You can go type in Black Pope, Superior General, etc. And you can also see from a source from the writer Nicholas de Bonneville. He also states in a very old excerpt or book, you could say, from around like the 1800s, discussing the idea of the Jesuits and the Freemasons under obedience. And the Freemasons, I'm sure you guys are aware, in the UK have huge ties, the Grand Lodge of Freemasonry and etc.
Yep, definitely.
Politicians are open to openly, admittedly involved in their Freemasonry connections and ties and etc.
Yep.
And this is how you know it's all in the mist, in the hands and the culprits, the Jesuits, using these politicians as pawns and tying and sinking them in rituals. From Boris's, and you guys obviously know Boris Johnson, from Boris's 57th to David's stabbing. So that's June 19th, 2021 to October 15th, 2021 is a span of exactly 17 weeks on the nose. The word stabbed in the most pure cipher equals 17. Kill equals 17. So he was stabbed and he got killed. Sacrifice equals 170. Ritual sacrifice equals 107. The common pattern that you guys are seeing is 17. And it's just so interesting how a politician during the time of Boris's reign dies exactly 17 weeks from his birthday.
Mm.
In light of him dying in a stabbing, and stabbed equals 17. So
Have you started to notice a language within the language of how almost like, because it feels like they're communicating these sort of things.
100%. Because, okay, so you want to go back to the idea that the Jesuits are a military order, and the military does everything on precise timing. So when you look at what we're showing, I'm showing how from his birthday to his death is 17 weeks on the nose, very precise, not 17